and welcome to the Raw Preview. We are the Dudley Boys of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to look ahead to tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review Raw, but also SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete. The Belair quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to look ahead to Raw tonight. And lots to look forward to, because this is all the fallout from Saturday night's main event and the go-home show ahead of the Royal Rumble.
Oh, well, and it's not even just that, is it, Wilbourn? You kind of buried the lead. I'm excited. I'm excited about Raw most weeks. I imagine Sidge is the opposite, as he is most weeks. But you... However,
today's the day.
This is your day. This is your big moment.
No, 20 plus 7.
Scoop City Jones over here, the OTJ himself, gets another victory lap. I am sure that will happen, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so explain 20 plus 7 to the people who know for a fact it's not a thing.
Yes.
They don't know that there would be a thing. So what's a thing?
For those uneducated people, The Rock had an interesting return to WWE at the start of 2025. He appeared on the
Wrestle Votes. You don't have to talk around it.
The Raw Netflix.
It was rubbish.
The Raw Netflix debut, where he just blew up about 3 different WrestleMania matches, perhaps, and then and then turned up on NXT and was rather cryptic in what he was saying that he's 20 steps ahead. That was on the 7th of January, 20 plus 7. Oh, look, here we are, 27th of January.
He didn't say he was 20 days ahead, though.
Good point. And also...
It's a step ahead. It's a 20-day plan.
The WWE have decided to promote this in an interesting way again, because they have barely made mention of Roman Reigns being on this show. It's meant to be the acknowledgement ceremony.
Yeah, this is the strangest thing. So this was this line on it was the night of the Netflix thing, wasn't it? He's backstage with Paul Heyman and he's walking at the thing.
Yes.
When are you free, basically? And he looks at his calendar, 27th. And at that point, there was a bit of buzz building around this specific Raw because it was the Rumble Go Home one, because it was Atlanta, because there'd been whispers that felt leaked that Goldberg was possibly going to be in town and also advertised. And I guess we can talk about how they've not talked about that as well for this one. The Goldberg element is potentially just more fun as a surprise.
Yeah.
You can absolutely throw that away as a drawing card for this. If he shows up here, if he shows up at the Rumble, that's just fun. That's nice. The Roman thing was absolutely something they advertised, something you assume was to feed into something big, whether it was to do with his placement in the Rumble, to kind of give some clues away about what his WrestleMania storyline is, if not a title match, because he's entering the Rumble and he might win it. And yet here we are. And the most interesting character in that side of things at the moment, by far, is Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu over the weekend alone has kind of put himself back in the conversation as a possible Roman Reigns opponent. So had they been promoting this Roman Reigns thing, you could be like, well, what if Jacob Fatu just smashes it up tonight and beats it, makes a huge statement, batters him.
But who sent him?
And just leaves him for dead. Whatever. They look like they're in the process of making a man who is very, very ready to be made, run with the ball, all of that. But it's just the weirdest thing that they've promoted something and then dropped it cold, and it's Roman Reigns based. Even if they change mind, that happens. But
They've been doing that rather a lot.
Plans change, pal.
Plans have changed rather a lot recently.
A lot, too much. But whatever has happened there, work around that. It's Roman Reigns you're talking about. Somebody might have bought a ticket for that, or somebody might have been tuned in ready to see that. And there's the fact there was zero mention. Again, Jacob Fatu heavy segments this weekend, SmackDown and Saturday Night's main event, were brilliant. Even there, no mention of Roman Reigns, and maybe the Tribal Chief should still be looking over his shoulder, because I know they're not called the New Bloodline anymore, but Solo's army or whatever don't look finished, and Roman Reigns needs to be worried about that. It's just nothing. It's very, very odd. You can almost wave away that when it's mid-card stuff, but not Roman Reigns appearances, not Roman Reigns-based stories.
And the rich history of acknowledgement ceremonies as well over the years. Solo had one on SmackDown. That's about it.
Been 2 on there?
I can only think.
I'm not sure if there was even one for Roman. He didn't need one, but this is.
Well, the big one, obviously was there was going to be some sort of ceremony of initiating Sami Zayn in, and then obviously when some of the Samoan family members are too ill to fly, they changed it to the trial. But this isn't even that, is it?
No.
As of time recording, anyway, there's just no mention of him.
Even sites that do sort of a rundown of here's what's scheduled to happen on this show have just written Roman Reigns set to appear or something, probably. But
because they don't know,
hiding the return of the Rock is a very clever move. Why you do that, I don't know. But I guess we'll have to wait and see and find out tonight, Sidge.
Yeah. It's odd.
It's
What's going on there? I mean, creative plans are in flux.
Yeah.
We've heard reports filtering through various outlets that this is a very political game that is being played at the top of the WrestleMania card amongst WWE's top talents. Do they have one? Do they have a WrestleMania card? You'd expect, right, they had card A, card B. Card A, The Rock's coming in. We do what The Rock wants and then build everything around that. Or here's a Rockless card. It's been apparent for 26 days that this is now Rockless.
Yeah.
Rockless. A big sort of... Obviously, they're not just going to say, well, you're the new tribal chief. Thank you. Thanks for coming. It's hiding in plain sight. An angle. You're going to get a big angle this week. An angle to build to a big match. Maybe they don't know what the match is, so they're not going to do the angle. That's what would indicate to me.
We were speculating about Goldberg because, the reports came out a few days ago that he's not going to be on the show, hence why he's not been advertised or anything like that. But we were speculating earlier because this is... I can't believe I'm saying this. It feels wrong, but apparently this is Logan Paul's Raw debut. And we were
SmackDown. It's the same thing.
Yeah, we were speculating about whether or not
same things, but with more red than blue.
That's correct.
Whether or not Logan shows up and, well, you suggested like squashes some jobber, and then I said, then grabs a mic and says, "All right, this is my Raw streak. I'm officially 1-0." And then the man who had the most infamous streak on WCW maybe comes out and takes him out of his goddamn shoes.
Sid.
I like Goldberg and Logan Paul. I like it in my head.
He's got a good vertical leap.
Yeah.
Could do some nice ducking of the spear.
I think Logan Paul has quickly evolved into being one of the most overrated wrestlers of this generation.
Thank you.
Like, he's got some moves. Who hasn't? He doesn't do a flip these days. Like, the very fact that so many do and don't necessarily put it together, of which Logan Paul is one of them, is part of the problem.
He's got some instincts.
Yeah.
But he peaked in the debut, really.
I was going to say, I would argue the peak was maybe the Roman Reigns match. But
I mean,
again,
that was an achievement.
And that was more a sense of, like, being, like, what would be when we would talk about the Shane McMahon comparison, that would be like the Shane McMahon test match, wouldn't it? Where it was like, Shane's had a few of these. He's got a little bit more than you thought. How far can you push this? Good for his experience level. And there's a peak. And then everything has been downwards since then, but with, like, impressive athleticism. Undeniably impressive athleticism. But I think he's already lost sight of what makes a match feel great. So I'm not particularly hyped for Logan Paul, but as a result, I still see him as a novelty guy. And
All right, Dusty Rhodes.
And thus the Goldberg match is appealing as a result, because that too is, like, Goldberg is novelty as well.
It feels like regardless of whether that happens or not...
Feels like we're just pulling stuff out of our arseholes because we don't know what to talk about.
Yeah.
Because nothing's been advertised, or that which has been advertised has now been abandoned. What year is this?
I think the Rumble's, like, especially because it's the go-home Raw, the Rumble, to Sidge's point about what's that match? What is that match? Roman Reigns, a month ago, they book in some sort of big segment with Roman Reigns ahead of the Royal Rumble. When that was booked, did Roman Reigns feel confident he was winning the Rumble? Did he not know what The Rock was up to then? CM Punk cut a promo last week that was spoken like a man that's been told he's winning the Rumble.
Yeah.
But that's fun because that's part of the intrigue of watching the match, but it's also the Palace intrigue of who's actually winning the Rumble here. Do they know? Like, is it still a bit up in the air? Is there still conversations taking place that result in a situation like this? I would say very possibly, because you just do not drop a Roman Reigns advertised segment cold. It does feel like battles are being had, and I think that's really interesting. Like, I'd like to see if anything on this Raw reveals itself, not in terms of a storyline, but just in terms of it's like Punk working Seth on Raw, isn't it? It's like, well, that's not happening at Mania.
Yeah,
that's what that match reveals. What might this Raw reveal? Because last week with Punk, it certainly felt like he's trying to tell you he's in it to win it. Like, that's what he's there for.
It's the go home ahead of the Rumble. Cody's going to be on this show as well, of course, hyping up that ladder match with Kevin Owens after he got hit with sweet chin music on Saturday night. I feel like Logan's...
What year is this?
Don't love that.
What year is it?
Liked Kevin's T-shirt.
Like, current members of the full-time roster getting geeked by elderly authority figures. Segments getting scrapped left and right. Everything's too long.
There's a pattern. with the Kevin Owens Saturday Night Main Event thing now.
I'm not trying to will a downfall into existence or anything.
You'll get it eventually. Don't worry. Okay.
I know.
They always come. I told you they do. Bookers have runs. It all comes around again.
I know that. You didn't have to tell me that.
We all win. We all win. We all lose. But
You didn't have to tell me that.
Owens with Shawn, second Saturday Night's Main Event in a row. Remember what happened after he did the power driver on Cody? The stuff that happened as a showing off the air was a face-off with Triple H. So now the pattern is Owens can deck anybody.
Not the guys.
Don't mess with DX.
No, don't mess with DX.
Owens and Sami versus DX at Mania.
God. When he runs in to help him win the title. Oh, we did help, thanks. It was me thinking we were going to kill each other, but thanks very much.
And they do the thing where it's like whoever gets pinned, whoever pins them leaves as champion. So don't you have to pin the champ?
Triple H wins the belt. Hey!
Told you. Yeah, I think Logan will probably declare for the Rumble as well.
Yeah.
I did like the graphic where it's like, they do the Royal Rumble thing. And it's like panning across people. And they're all like, whoa. Rey Mysterio's just like, I'm in the Rumble. Can't wait. So Sami's in there. Loads of former world champions. And Shinsuke Nakamura. But it's not just the...
He's the United States champion and nobody knows.
It's not just the Rumble Go Home show. This is Saturday night's main event. Fallout.
You've got it all.
Yes. I assume Gunther's not doing anything on Saturday. I assume the whole point, well, presumably if Punk's winning, like you say, is he's like, well, I've beaten everyone.
It was quite an effective visual, wasn't it, last year when you had Roman and Seth in the skyboxes. And, obviously Cody thought, well, I want to call my shot because I'm not sure it's going backstage. Considering that they've got these 4 or 5 match cards, we used last week's Jey Uso Gunther match as the version of what would have once been a Rumble title match. A title match that's just, why not? But the title's not changing hands. Yeah. That was effectively what that was. Gunther in a suit in the box looking down on his potential challenges is fine.
I think they should have themed boxes. So you could have like a sort of Rhea Ripley themed one, Tiffany Stratton themed one, obviously.
Like those really sad NXT locker rooms when they just hang the flag off. Like, remember, the Undisputed Era are coming later on and you know this is their locker room because they've got their own flag up. And then it's like, God, I want that. Rhea Ripley's up next. Nightmare. Different room.
Different rooms. Different rooms, different needs.
Sheamus lost again on Saturday.
Great spear.
Good match.
They're setting it up well for that Mania win.
Them. Yeah, maybe, but let's be done with them for a bit now. And then 3. We've all had our fun.
Yeah. We've all had our fun.
Something else.
It's all fun stuff.
I like maybe Bron Breakker off the back of winning on Saturday enters the Rumble.
Yeah, well, Shinsuke's in. That makes sense.
I don't need to lose the Intercontinental title to also win the world title. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We've also got Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre tonight.
What the hell's going on at WrestleMania with Drew and Seth and Sami? And because they're exhausting these combinations already.
Sami and Kevin's feeling like a lock, isn't it?
With Drew versus Seth, they've already done it, and it was pretty made.
I don't want that. Yeah. I don't know.
Does KO help him win tonight?
I don't hate that at all.
That's nice, yeah.
Don't hate that at all. Sami's like, oh, what are you doing? Because that would strengthen, in turn, Drew's resolve of, because everyone who aligns with Roman is, in fact, a dickhead after all, and he would just prove himself right.
Oh, yeah.
And he can that filters down to Seth Rollins. Hey!
Call me butter, baby. I'm on a roll. Obviously both in the Rumble, as you mentioned. I like you say, this constant refrain we come back to of you can picture like Punk, even if he's not in the world title match, he's going to have a huge match at WrestleMania. Cody, obviously Roman, Gunther. But the question mark over Drew and Seth, what they're doing in a few months.
To be absolutely fair to Drew McIntyre, I think at the moment you could argue he's elevating bad material because if you lay it all out, he's basically had a Frankie Kazarian Elite Hunter run. He swore after War Games he was going to take down all the Bloodline one by one. He beat Sami Zayn in a Saturday Night's Main Event match that everybody instantly forgot about, and then he lost to Jey Uso on Netflix, and now we're potentially going to lose to Sami Zayn here. So he's absolutely failed in his mission, and yet has sort of not gotten away with it, but talks a really good game. Feels like he's getting in the head of Seth Rollins, which is like a nice project for that character to have. Is doing his best to remain part of the people's WrestleMania conversation, despite the cards, like the amount of different cards there is. Nobody's putting Drew in the main event, but it feels like he's somebody that can't not be at least considered for a big single match.
Cena? Just trying to run through some big names he could face.
Cena's a really interesting one to me because you can have him wrestle anybody. Like, there is an interesting John Cena story with just about any wrestler on this roster, and it can start with something as simple as a Royal Rumble elimination or an Elimination Chamber pinfall loss, whatever. Like, I know, like, to your point, Sid, there will be plenty agree about.
Cena wins. I'm just going to ask a simple question. What year is this? I love that. That's going to be anything. I'm going to will it into existence. Not that I want it to fail.
The perspective quality of the Cena match, who knows how that looks like. But the marquee, the poster, the match graphic, at very least, almost everybody can do something interesting with John Cena, because thank God, for the most part, the generation has actually moved on from the John Cena era, and the ones that haven't have this like renewed interest, because it's like, what would Punk Cena look like one more time? What does Cena Roman look like in these very different personas? All that. Like, it's mostly new people or fresh ideas or people that have actually ascended in his absence. And yeah, like Drew would probably be over the moon with John Cena at WrestleMania, because even though he probably loses that match on the night, the bad stuff he gets to do to John Cena on the way is a perfect follow-on from this like kind of career-making feud he'd had with Punk.
Yeah, I like that as a pitch, perhaps. You could set that up in the Rumble, for example, because like we've talked about this before. They were like, oh, it's John Cena's last Rumble, and people have pitched Cena winning it. No, not for me.
It's happening.
But
I like Cena Cody, but I'm starting to like it more in the version of events where Cody loses the belt to Kevin Owens.
Right.
And you do Cena Cody without a title and Zayn and Owens with.
I think the amount Cody, well, I suppose you could argue, oh, he's getting too confident. The amount he was talking over the last few days about like, I'm taking this belt to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like you're not going to take it off him now, even though you love Kevin Owens and what he's been doing.
Great. Absolutely tremendous.
It'd be pretty slapdash to have an old guy kick Kevin Owens in the face if he wasn't going over at the Royal Rumble, because he kind of buried his ass a little bit on Saturday. So as long as he wins, he justify the burial. As long as he wins.
Nah, he's not going to win, but it's, look, this is me talking. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, you can get kicked in by, I don't know, Brad Maddox is an authority figure. As soon as you get Kevin and Sami interacting on TV, subsequent to that, it'd still be magic. It's always magic. Like, there was one segment, actually, right? I was burying the build of their WrestleMania 37 match, and it was weird. Like, Sami was playing that, like, Conspirator, and it was like very much just a not real character.
Where's the documentary? Sorry,
where's the documentary? And there's no proof, and it was just like it was just a stupid development. Wasn't there one segment where it really, and this is like under Vince, Twilight years, brain mush, Vince, Thunderdome, where they were sort of like, come on, and they were like sort of, it was very warm, it was very real, there was natural dialogue, and it really felt like it coming together, and then Sami just walked away from it.
Yeah.
Like a shockingly realistic, emotionally resonant back and forth verbal between them two, in of all places the Thunderdome, and then it just built towards their match in the end.
Yeah.
Even in the worst possible environment, them two are so good together that magic will spring from
the game in the system years.
Yeah.
For the pair of them.
I think people love Sami so much, they are, like you say, willing to invest in things that aren't necessarily the way we'd like them to be, or, you know, if he falls over when he immediately returns on the Raw after WrestleMania 35.
The one thing to consider, when he was straight on his ass, when he was supposed to come out and do a bit of a...
On his ass, flat on his ass.
And he had to do like he won the match, and then he had to do like each and every one of you, all you people promo. Mm-hmm. And it was very much like, well, it's our fault you slipped over.
Yeah.
The other thing to consider, and like I'm as guilty of this as anyone, because it does feel WrestleMania sized, and there's such sentiment around Sami and Kevin that I think any time that they were doing anything together at this time of year, you'd be thinking, oh, Mania, just give them Mania. Like, same with the 39 main event. Elimination Chamber is in the Sky Dome, and you put two Canadians in the main event in the Sky Dome, for them would be just as enormous as WrestleMania. So it could be that gets accelerated there, and a lot of people feel like something's been lost. Maybe not. Like, maybe Kevin Owens gets his... If he was to win, I don't think he's going to win too, but I'm wanting to have the 1%. If he was to win, then that's, again, a Kevin Owens title defense in the Sky Dome, and you save Sami for WrestleMania. It's
not happening. Like,
also good, but
he got chinned off Shawn Michaels, man. It's not happening. If it was going to happen, it would have been at Saturday night's main event to really establish that as this NBC big deal. It's not happening.
No.
I'll put a pasty bet on with someone if they want.
I wouldn't. Yeah,
worth a try. I think with Cena and the whole, this is his last whatever. That's the whole thing. Is it going to be like his last Rumble? Just doesn't win it. It's his last Chamber. Comes close there. Well, I guess it's going to have to be in his last Money in the Bank, and you just keep that going basically throughout the year.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's his last Bash in Berlin. That's his first one.
He could pop over to NXT for a bit.
Oh, he will. You'll get him at least once.
He's on it already, man.
Yeah.
his last day in Survivor. Right at the end of the year. That's how he...
It's his last Tuesday Night War. Like, he's been there before to help the brand. It's his last Tuesday Night War.
The big question, of course, that Sidge, I know you're interested in with regards to the show. And I know it's busy weekend, Saturday night's main event, AW Collision. You probably didn't get the chance to catch up on SmackDown.
Not yet. I'll watch it on Wednesday night.
The Miz has been transferred over to SmackDown. So what's next for Karrion Kross? Like, does he declare for the Rumble?
I mean, he was lining up an entire crew of main eventers to fight last week.
Imagine, he talks before about, he'll have a feud with someone or an interaction with someone, and then 6 months later something will happen. He'll be like, well, looks like my plan came together after all. Put him in a Rumble. That's 29 other people he can influence.
Indeed.
Do you think...
You were only in there for 10 seconds.
You know, The Miz, he told us last week The Miz is on assignment for me. Do you think he's forced The Miz to sign for SmackDown to carry on trying to fight the Wyatts? Because he was he didn't expect the Wyatts to leave Raw. I had more stuff I was going to do with him. Miz, you go and figure that out.
I like the idea of him convincing The Miz to sign something, and Miz thinks it's some sort of some sort of contractual thing, whereas get him off to SmackDown, that's fine. Right.
Unfold the paper, SmackDown contract.
Why would you split them up?
I don't know.
This transfer window's weird as well.
Yeah.
I think WWE's falling off.
Falling off.
Falling off, yeah.
Look, yeah, I don't totally disagree. WrestleMania will be grand, but we'll see after that.
Is Cody just cutting a promo, hyping things up?
It's a weird gimmick you've got. You did it in 2021 with AEW, and you're going to be right at some point. Why don't you just enjoy the ride? And this is me saying it.
Oh,
well, it's going to fall off, but I'm enjoying it.
2023 and 2024, Sidge, you had 0 complaints from me, pal. I should have heard more. There was one. I think I made a little bit of noise when Cody Rhodes lost at WrestleMania 39. I think that troubled me somewhat. But then I was reassured by the summer, and 2023 ended up being the goated year of this entire era. So, I've been very patient in 2024. But the signs were there back end of last year.
Yeah, is Cody just hyping up Saturday again?
Yeah. And it's Cody, so you take it for granted at this point, but it will be good. There's nothing left to do for this story. They've not got the belts now. Mm-hmm. They'll hang them above for the visual and all that.
I like that one. We're going to raise the belts and then raise them back, lower them back down again, and take them to the next.
Put them in a truck. Put them back on and then do it.
They're buzzing. It's less to get through the airports this week.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Aye, yeah. He's good at it. He'll do a really compelling job of giving you a recap of the story and telling you how he's going to beat Kevin Owens in a match where all he has to do is climb a ladder. He'll make it feel meaningful because that's what they've done together, and Cody's a master at this. So.
They've remembered there's a Women's Royal Rumble as well going on this weekend.
Pathetic. Bianca Belair, who's an incredible wrestler, just declared on Twitter. Yeah. WWE declared on her behalf.
SmackDown segment about 20 people. I'm in me as well. Ass. It's real ass.
They must know how it looks, and they must not care.
One of the 2 confirmed entrants, Nia Jax, right? So 7 days ago, the Rumble's got 2 people in. It's pathetic. It's Bayley and Nia Jax. Nia Jax last week says, better idea. I'm going to win the world title at Saturday night's main event. And then doesn't win the world title at Saturday night's main event. It's I'm going to get it done at the Rumble. You're already in that. You've just made extra work for yourself. What are you doing?
You've made extra work for yourself, and you've basically said that you don't think you're going to win.
You tarnished your credibility along the way. Yeah. Good match again.
Baffling decisions.
TV Nia was back at it on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Talk more about that a little bit later on today. But
then I suppose it's the Rumble's PLE. She'll absolutely stink out there as well.
She'll get some eliminations. Is she tied, I think they said?
Real. We're talking about a performance.
I don't know what was so bad about it. The champion retained his title.
Yeah, what's the problem?
1-0, full time.
So Bianca declared, Naomi. Could this be the show? They tease a Jade return, actually, now I say it.
I think she returns at the Rumble, and Naomi does the sort of, nice one.
You can help with my investigation.
Welcome back. Sure.
Yeah, she's definitely going to be the attacker, isn't she?
I think so. And the only thing, again, it keeps going back to WrestleMania, as it should. If Bianca and Jade is a match, and I sort of hope it is for Bianca Belair's sake at this point, because she's just woefully underserved by this creative team. If nothing else, if that's the match on the board, it's massive feeling. And how you get to that match, whether it's because Bianca enlisted the help of Naomi.
Oh, yeah.
What we're not seeing is
I'd like to see Bianca as a heel.
Yes, Naomi has benefited. However, it was, there was two people that could benefit from this because Bianca was starting to feel a little bit jealous that maybe Jade Cargill, the person that she'd been required to sort of look after, had since started to overshadow her. You can tell a story with that. And the match, it'll feel big time, and Bianca Belair has already ascended to the person you can trust to carry somebody through something. So I don't mind that. I'm interested. I'm genuinely interested. The hook has worked. Who attacked her? It's probably Naomi. If it isn't, who else could it possibly be? I like it.
What's the women's title matches at WrestleMania right now then? Potentially, Io versus Rhea we speculated on, and obviously Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. Now I've seen the Charlotte Flair vignettes. Right. There's a bit of hubbub, bit of rumor and innuendo that Charlotte Flair wishes to return as a babyface.
That's right.
She loves... She has these vignettes where it's like, how rich I am. It's like the most... And I know Flair got over doing it, and the disturbing truth behind Flair Steamboat 1989 is that people just really like Ric Flair because he was such a star and he was so on fire, even though he was playing heel. Charlotte Flair, excellent. It's not Rick. And it's never really worked in the same way. Ric Flair is this hideous show-off, cheating, has everything you want and can't have. In theory, the perfect heel, simply too entertaining to really hate. Charlotte Flair's not been that, and yet Charlotte Flair's showing off her splendor. She's just completely showing off her megastar power and the lifestyle, her just relentless and pretty boring, predictable success has afforded her. Yeah, I'm a babyface though. What?
And
What?
Tiffany Stratton beat Bayley clean through great wrestling. Absolutely no objections. And then is pally-pally with Rhea Ripley on SmackDown as well.
Yeah.
It's not like they've thought, all right, Charlotte Flair is
Does Nia Jax care about Tiffany yet?
mixed.
She wants to win the Rumble so she can take it back off her.
Yeah, but in the meantime, it was what I could do is just beat Rhea Ripley instead of the world title.
Both titles.
If anything. Tiffany Stratton, they haven't doubled down on her as a heel. If anything, they've sort of thought, hey, it's time to appreciate her qualities. She's a fighting champion. Other babyfaces seem...
I will catch up on SmackDown properly this week.
Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez is the most interesting element.
Do what?
Of this match so far, I think. Liv Morgan and Raquel is the most interesting element, and we might get a bit more of these in the clear-up house.
Yeah, well, they also declared for the Royal Rumble.
Liv's declaring.
God, it's next Saturday. Liv saying I think Raquel's basically going to be her bodyguard in the Rumble to help her win.
Yep.
I think she should wrestle in her sunglasses.
The template is there. We've had a bodyguard do very well in a Rumble before, and when Diesel had the Diesel run, people forget the important detail, as it turned out, of Shawn being the one to push the pile and out goes Diesel. Do that with... If you're already teasing that Raquel has either got eyes for Dom or looks at their relationship and thinks, I'd be better for you than her, you kind of carry that going where Liv Morgan says, yeah, she's brilliant. We're going to build her up. We're going to get her over and all this sort of stuff. Just can't wait. Out you go.
Yeah.
Right there.
But it is Bianca and Naomi versus Liv and Raquel tonight. Ahead of course, the tag titles being defended tomorrow night. I think it is. Or they're still saving that till Judgment Day. Not Judgment Day, Vengeance Day. I think it is tomorrow night.
Yeah, because it's the
Atlanta show.
Yeah, the center stage.
Of course, yeah, they're on. Yeah,
Tag Tuesday, isn't it? Because then you've got the other women's division tag.
That's all right.
Close to the edge there, aren't we?
Two's fine. I wouldn't be a wrestling fan if two wasn't fine.
Yeah.
It was when we saw at the services, wasn't there? There was and I was like, Sidge wouldn't like that. There was a sign that was advertising something at Weatherby.
Like something for a coffee or something. Which would have made it even worse. To bring this illiterate trash to my cultured hobby.
But yeah, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. I hope they're ringside for this.
Yeah.
Because I think that's
They'll
going to
declare.
Oh yeah, we'll do as well.
We'll be in the Rumble.
But yeah, Liv and Raquel versus Bianca and Naomi. How do you see that one going?
They'll lose, but I think it's because of double defeat for the Judgment Day tonight.
Ooh, it's going to be a bad night. Is this the end? I've asked that about 20 times. Is this the end of the Judgment Day?
Ascension in the clear-up house. Finn Balor being absent, being you all should have listened to me. Look what's happened last week. What the hell are you doing sacrificing our tag title rematch by putting Dominik Mysterio? And I was like, hang on, wait a minute. take it easy, and that's what you got next week when Finn Balor's back.
Yes, because also tonight the tag titles are on the line. The War Raiders defending against the Judgment Day, being represented, as you mentioned, by JD McDonagh, one half of the former tag champs, and Finn Balor's replacement, Dominik Mysterio.
This could be good, but it'll be a surprise if it is. The War Raiders are really boring, and I think Triple H has this sometimes with certain characters where he has that, like, oh, well, job done. Like people like the Viking lads, and I've belted them up, so don't need to think about that for another 6 months. Like, they've just appeared dressed like friggin' Skull and 8-Ball from DOA on Raw the last few weeks, doing nout of out. And like Dominik Mysterio's interesting. So the fact, like, I'll quite like the idea of him being a total stooge for the War Raiders, and then getting like JD McDonagh cheats to get an advantage, and Dominic's doing the running in tag, choke him on the ropes. They're monsters. They could kill him if they even saw him, but he's just everything's from behind. Like, really Christian Cage it up. Like, just be the best version of yourself, Dominik Mysterio. Dare to get cocky, get your ass kicked. Could be nice. Could be like a nice TV match, this. But I don't think the War Raiders are over. Like, they're doing title making the men's stuff here, and they've been around, like...
Done that with Shinsuke as well.
Yeah. War Raiders versus Ricochet and Aleister Black was 2019. They were 50 times more over then than they are now.
I am once again saying every match that they have should be Viking rules.
Just have a boat, you know.
Always on the boat.
Like, especially you're the champions. Champions advantage. Like the House of Black did their rules, which were a bit weird because some people were just like, oh, I don't want any, thanks.
No one said as well, put your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
What if backstage, the Viking Raiders are like speaking to Rey Mysterio? So we're really sorry, we're going to have to bat your son tonight. He's like, oh, no bother. And then Dominik comes in, he says, you would say that, my deadbeat dad. And then they say, what about dead boat? And then they resuscitate the old boat, bring it back to life. The dead boat.
I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. Colito's going to get beaten up as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Can you swallow an apple whole? Just trying to think of something for the War Raiders to do that. He's just like, don't fancy actually.
It's like the cartoon sound effect of the big apple going down the gullet.
Do you want to do it? Can you do it?
No, no one can do it.
Murray's got a good gulp in him.
He has. That was good.
This will be a nightmare for like people with that misophonia, won't it? Where like there's certain like chewing noises and the like.
Or like when you're like consuming content or saying
skip ahead 15 seconds.
Tony Khan signing wrestlers.
Yeah, Tony Khan. It's my impression of Tony Khan signing way too many wrestlers in a really greedy recruitment spree. Skip forward 10 seconds.
That reminds me.
I'm never full.
That reminds me that I think it was Trevor Dame, but that tweet around Brawl Out where like Adam Cole's the one guy in the other corner of the room just playing, oh Kirby, aren't you ever full?
Yeah.
Like Tony, oh Carney, aren't you ever full? 10 wrestlers.
The very hungry Khan-tapilla.
Yes, good.
It's not good.
You want to make that as an image?
A book with the little holes in, but it's just pictures of wrestlers. Bites his way through.
And that's Raw, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to look forward to tonight. Let us know your thoughts.
None of what's been discussed here, but lots to look forward to.
The Rock's going to show up. It's fine. Let us know your thoughts ahead of tonight in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, they can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. And me and Sidge will be back a little bit later on today to review AEW Collision. And we've got our Saturday night's main event review coming later as well. But for now, this is the Raw preview. My thanks to Hamflett, Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon.